we're like grasshoppers in our own eyes. This land is yours, yet they could only see their weakness. Hey friend, welcome back. It's a brand new week, a fresh page, and another opportunity to rise with expectation and walk in faith. Maybe last week didn't turn out the way you hoped. Maybe it left you drained, disappointed, or even questioning if things will ever change. But can I remind you of something? You don't have to let the past week define the one ahead. What you choose to focus on, faith or fear, problems or promises, can completely shape the journey before you. This truth, reminds me so much of the story of Caleb in Numbers 13 and 14. And honestly, it's one of those stories that always challenges me to check my perspective. So here's what happened, friend. I'll tell you. God had already promised his people, the Israelites, a land flowing with milk and honey. The promise was secure, but before they entered, Moses sent out 12 spies, one of each tribe, to explore the land and bring back a report. After 40 days, friends, the spies returned with fruit so large that it had to be carried on poles. They confirmed that the land was indeed rich and fruitful. But here's the twist. Instead of celebrating what God had promised, 10 of them magnified the problems. They said, the cities are fortified, the people are giants. Compared to them, we're like grasshoppers in our own eyes. Can you imagine? God himself had already said, this land is yours, yet they could only see their weakness. Hearing this, the Israelites panicked. They cried, they complained against Moses and Aaron, and even started talking about going back to Egypt, back to slavery. Fear made them want to return to the very place God had already delivered them from. Sound familiar? Sometimes fear does that. It tricks us into believing that the past was safer than the unknown future God is calling us into. But then Caleb spoke up. He silenced the people and said, let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it. Caleb and Joshua saw the same giants, the same cities, the same land, but their perspective, friends, was different. Where others saw obstacles, they saw opportunities. Where others saw defeat, they saw God's victory. Caleb's faith wasn't blind optimism. It was anchored in the certainty that if God had promised, then God will surely deliver. And doesn't this remind you of Sarah's story, friends? She laughed when God promised her a son, because to her, it was laughable. It was too late. It was too impossible. But at the appointed time, Isaac was born. God's word was not bound by her age, doubt, or her past disappointments. No. Or we could also think about the woman that was caught in adultery. Everyone around her saw sin, shame, failure. She was ready for judgment, but Jesus, he saw beyond her sin. He saw worth, he saw redemption, and a new beginning. Where others saw a problem, Jesus saw a promise of grace. And now, friend, Caleb, standing before the giants, saw not fear, but faith. So let me ask you, friend, what do you see when you look at your own life? When you look at your current situation, do you see only the giants? Do you see the obstacles, the delays, the impossibilities? Or do you see God's promises still standing strong over your life? You know, the other spies, they saw themselves as grasshoppers, and because of that mindset, they never entered the promised land. But Caleb, the one who believed, he walked right into it years later. So today, I want to encourage you. Shift your perspective. See the promise, not the problem. Don't let fear talk you out of what God has promised. Yes, don't let delays make you doubt His timing. Don't let the past convince you to settle for less than His best. Remember, you have the God of the universe on your side. He's your protector, He's your helper, He's your shepherd. In Psalm 121, we are reminded that He watches over your coming and your going. In Psalm 46, He says He is your refuge and your strength. And in Psalm 23, He reminds us that even in the darkest valley, He is with us. Friends, faith moves you forward. Fear keeps you stuck. So friends, as we step into this new week, together, let's be like Caleb. Let's see with eyes of faith and not fear. Let's choose to focus on the promise and not the problem. Because you know, one thing is sure, God's plans are greater and His word will never fail. Friend, I'll tell you one thing. God has got you covered. Thank you for sharing this moment with me today. If this encouraged you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need this reminder too. And until next time, friends, keep walking in faith and keep your eyes on the promise. Take care and have a lovely week ahead. Bye.